Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring the Gold Label Collection DC Multiverse Batman Dark Knight, or Dark Detective. I almost said Dark Knight. Yeah, so we have Batman the Dark Detective. This represents Batman as he appeared in DC Future State. So this is a gold label figure, meaning that this is the second release of this action figure. All right, so I kind of get messed up when it comes to like trying to figure out all the different figures and all the different lines. I want to say the first release of this figure might have had a trench coat, I think, or a cape. I might be wrong on that because I remember seeing the Dark Knight or the Dark Detective figure at my local FYE at my mall, and I remember passing on it. And I just bought this yesterday, but this is the gold label one. So I can't remember what the original version was like, or if there even was an original or a first release. But generally, the gold label is generally like the second release of the figure with, either like updated accessories, maybe a different head, or something along those lines. One of my YouTube viewers, Morky Moose, if you're watching this, he recommended that I check out the Dark Knight Detective figure, or the Dark Detective figure. I keep on calling him Dark Knight. And so here I am. So Morky Moose, if you're watching this, we're taking a look at Dark Detective. I'm not sure if this is the same figure that you were talking about, since this is the gold label one. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. So thanks for the suggestion. All right, so I have no sentimental attachment to the Future State Dark Detective character whatsoever. As you can see here, he was introduced in Future State. So Future State came out, I think, towards the tail end of the Joker War story. And, when they did the Future State event, I think it was like a one-shot with a couple of like... it was like maybe like a short mini series of like I think like every character had like a Future State issue or something. I kind of dropped out of the Batman books altogether. For me, like Joker War was a nice bookend, and I didn't really feel the new direction they were going with the Batman character. And I kind of just at the time, up until now, I kind of just like bowed out. So I'm kind of out of the loop with the Batman storylines from the past, year and a half. Unfortunately, maybe at some point I'll jump back on. So as I review this, I have no sentimental attachment to this. I don't know how accurate this is to the actual character in the comic books. But for the most part, we're going to review this figure on its own merits, take a look at the paint application, the articulation, and just see how it holds up. I'm guessing this is going to be a superb figure. I'm a big fan of McFarlane toys since day one, and when I say day one, we're talking about way, way back in the 90s with the first release of the Spawn figures, and it was Todd Toys. And there's that cheesy commercial with McFarlane and the Spawn mobile shooting at a brick wall. So I've been in the game for a long time, and I really think McFarlane, they really, really set the standard for a high-quality, premium, but affordable action figure. So I expect nothing less from this guy, but to be a superb product. All right, with that being said, let's get started. We have Batman, the Dark Detective, the gold label version. Wonderful artwork on the back. It's kind of weird because, the past, I don't know, like year and a half, 2 years, they've been giving us action figure photography as opposed to artwork. But, I gladly accept this. And it's also kind of weird that, they're omitting the little like roll call of different figures, but this is a gold label figure, so maybe that's one of the differences in the package design. We get the action figure stand and the trading card, and we have Batman the Dark Detective. Accessory wise, he comes with, it looks like looks like we have a grappling hook and the hook on the end. Unfortunately, this is coiled up. It's not gonna uncoil, so this is strictly more so like a display accessory. I'm guessing you just latch onto his waist. As for the figure itself, first impressions in the tray, he looks fabulous. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's a very different look for Batman. I'm not familiar with the Future State storyline. I don't know if it's an alternate reality, alternate universe. I'm not sure if it takes place on Earth 2 or whatever designation of Earth this character comes from. I don't know if this is a future version of Batman. For all I know, this might not even be Bruce Wayne anymore. But it looks cool. As you can see, he has the Batman emblem on his chest. Different kind of style of body armor than what we're used to. This Batman's serious about getting to work, so he has his sleeves rolled up. He's wearing, looks like military fatigues with Batman-inspired boots. He has knee guards, thigh guards. He has, looks like a holster of some sort. And, I don't know, looks pretty cool. So let's take him out. It's kind of excessive with the amount of ties that are holding this guy in place. And I kind of wish they just give us, like, just the one tie around the waist, and that's it. I hate it when they, like, feel the need to, like, lock down every limb, every ankle, every wrist. So let's get rid of all these plastic ties, and then we'll get started. Check out the Dark Detective. And also keep in mind, like I said, I'm unsure if there was a first release. Generally, with the gold label figures, there's always a first release, because gold label is usually the second release. So I'm not sure what the difference is between this and any prior version beforehand. Like I said, I kind of have vague recollection of seeing the Dark Detective figure at my local mall, but I don't think that was the gold label one. I think that might have been like the standard release figure. Okay, let's get started. So, Batman the Dark Detective. It's kind of a weird figure as I'm handling it. It seems different in some ways than some of the other McFarlane figures. This guy stands in at about a little under 7 1/4 if you count the horns. Let's get a closer look at the head sculpt. It's a very angry version of Batman. As you can tell, he's snarling. This Batman, his mask doesn't really cover the entirety of his head. As you can see, his ears are exposed. The back of his jaw is exposed. His neck is exposed. Even though he looks like he's serious about defending himself, he rolled up his sleeves. No body armor on the shoulders or biceps. It's almost like a minimalist version of Batman. He generally, like, if you're used to like modern Batman, especially from like the Arkham video games, it's like Batman in high-tech body armor. This guy looks like he's kind of like, Batman that kind of like salvaged the army surplus store. Nice sculpting though, I'll give it that. I mean, the attention to detail is still really great. The helmet looks really nice. Nice scribe lines on the forehead and on the temples. He kind of has a 5 o'clock shadow, some stubble. Love the expression. Do we see his eyes, or his eyes blank? I think he just has plain white eyes like Batman should. Yeah, plain white eyes. The bat emblem is kind of like graffiti painted onto his body armor. Yeah, this is a really tough looking Batman. This is like Batman without his coffee, and he's just grumpy and angry. Looks really cool. I'm digging this. On the back, here's the body armor. It looks kind of plain. It looks very... It's missing, like a lot of McFarlane figures, they have such they do such a good job of giving, you know, like a micro texture to give you an idea of what the material would be like in real life. This almost feels like it was left alone. It feels like this is still like at the prototype stage where the figure is being sculpted by hand using like epoxy or like Sculpey, and it just doesn't feel as or look as professional as some of the other figures we've gotten in the past. I'm not that's not a knock at the figure. I think that's just how it was designed. You know, it just doesn't look as crazy detailed as some of the other McFarlane figures we've gotten. But if this is true to the actual character's design, I can't really fault that. Here's his belt. Nice details, lots of pockets, a holster of some sort. He has like a rope here. And speaking of rope, here's that. I don't know what this is supposed to do. I'm not sure if he's supposed to like wrap this around his shoulder, so he's like carrying it like so. Or if there's storage on the body of his of the figure. All right, this is kind of weird too. So I don't read Batman Future State. I'm not sure if that version of Batman has a gun, but this guy does have a trigger finger right there. So I'm not sure if that means he's supposed to come with a gun but didn't because of that rule that, you know, for like DC figures they can't come with like firearms, or if he was supposed to come with like, you know, Batman's traditional grapple gun that like shoots out the grappling hook, which would make sense since he got this thing. One thing I noticed is that there's a kind of a discoloration between his fist and his forearm. As you can see, the fist is actually a dark blue, whereas his bracer is actually black. I do appreciate the fact that his bracer has the 3 fins that are kind of long. They're not too stubby. Overall, solid figure. There's something about this that just kind of reminds me of the older like Mattel DC Multiverse figures. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if it's the sculpting or if it's the texture quality of the figure. In terms of articulation, this guy's head rotates. Looks down about that much. Looks up about that much. His arms rotate. They go out. It has that McFarlane butterfly joint that's in a ball socket that I like a lot. It provides an extended range of movement, unlike like the Hasbro Marvel Legends butterfly joint, which is, for me, I hate them. They're always stuck. He has a bicep swivel like this. Looks like he just might have I take it back, double jointed elbows. Wrist articulation. You know, if you want, you can make him look like he's thrusting his crotch at you. Does he have a cut underneath? He has a cut mid-torso, so he could crunch forward, arch back. Cut at the waist, allows for swivel. Legs kick up about this much. They kick out about that much. So you could like almost get the full splits. Oh, I know what's throwing me off with this figure. He has a friggin' thigh cut. McFarlane figures, they don't generally have thigh cuts. The way the figures are engineered at the hip, they don't always allow for full like thigh swivel. But this guy has a thigh cut, so it allows for full thigh swivel. That's kind of cool. It's cool, but at the same time, you know, due to the design of the body armor, get back into focus. Alright, so due to the nature of the body armor, the minute you swivel the thigh, it's going to break the illusion and it's going to split the armor in half, which is unfortunate. Or split it in 1/3 if you're like serious about your math, not 1/2. There's double jointed knees, exposed pins, extreme toe articulation, and he has ankle articulation. Very cool figure. As I'm handling this figure, I'm getting crazy ideas. And I'm getting crazy ideas that I might actually go with and make I'm looking at this, I see a custom in my head that I kind of want to attempt. And I might just do that. So I need another one of these. I'm looking at this and I see a different character underneath this Batman figure. And I'll just leave it at that because I want to surprise you. There's a custom I really want to make as I'm handling this because I'm getting all sorts of wild ideas looking at this. Alright, so let's leave it at that. But it's a great figure. I think this is a standout figure. Morky Moose, if you're watching this, thanks for suggesting this figure. I think it's pretty neat. It's awesome. If I had to rate this guy on a scale of 1 to 10, easy 8.5 to a 9. It's a different take on Batman. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the Future State Batman comics, and you know, for me, this is kind of a breath of fresh air. We've gotten so many Batman figures in the McFarlane line. You know, the whole line is built up around Batman. You know, let's be honest. Okay, it's me again. Alright, so chances are, if you're watching my video, I'm editing the video and cutting this sequence near the end. So that's why there's going to be a weird break in the video. So one thing I forgot when I first filmed this video is that I forgot to include this. I wanted to compare the figure with the original design of the, you know, what we saw in the comic books. So what we have here, like I stated earlier in the video, I'm unfamiliar with the Dark Detective from the DC Future State of comics. But what we have here is the actual concept art done by artist Dan Mora. So this is Dark Detective Batman as he appeared in Future State. And I just wanted to share this with you just so we could compare the toy to the original concept. And if you look here, I mean, they did a really excellent job of recreating the initial intent of the artist. I think the final result with the action figure really captures the look of the character. You know, they do a good job in recreating the body armor. I'm not sure if this was the final color scheme that was used in the comic, because as you can see here, the body armor here is almost kind of like a dark beige, borderlining on gray, where this is really a much more medium gray throughout the entire costume, including the pants. Whereas here, it's gray with like olive green pants. So there's kind of some disconnect here between the uniform. But I think for the most part, they did a pretty excellent job of recreating the look of the character. You know, next to the concept art, you can see right there. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. Like I said, you know, I'm unfamiliar with this iteration of Batman, but it seems that designers at McFarlane did a pretty, you know, decent job of recreating this look overall. And this is cool to finally get a Batman figure that's not traditional Batman. You know, this guy looks pretty dope. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I will see you at the next video. Alright, later.